Husband 25 cheated, messaged men and women, sent pics of me 28 to men. I'm struggling. This is going to be long, so strap yourself in. Thank you for reading ahead of time. This is my marriage, so I want to be as detailed as possible. My husband makes my heart sing. That is what makes this so hard. We have been together for 7 years, in October married for 5 years. I won't lie, we met online during a very bad period of my life. I had been in a car accident and bedridden. I joined a Skype group, which is how I met his best friend. His best friend then introduced me to him. He lived in one of the Baltic states, Estonia, Belarus, etc. Remember this as it becomes relevant later. At first, we were just friends, but as I have dated people online before that were in different countries, and it wasn't like I had a lot going on in my life, we started dating with intent to meet. It became intense quickly. I won't go into all the details as I don't see it super relevant to the current issue at hand, but we would Skype every day, pretty much all day. Sleep together on Skype. I'd call him when I'd go to the grocery store. I worked nights alone, so I even would call him at work. We were as inseparable as you can be when you are on the other side of the world from each other. After a year and 8 months, we met up in Canada and got married. Then a couple of months later, we met up in his home country. While I was there, we decided to meet up with his best friend's girlfriend, who we will call Rachel. She lived in a neighboring country. To give you a better idea of what I have medically gone through, let's just say my spine is messed up as well as my nervous system. A lot of people who had what I had would go on disability and stay home. I knew that unless I got a job, which I did, the night job, I would never be able to get my partner, we will call him Dave, to America. So, I pushed really hard. Flying to his country alone was still one of the most difficult things I had ever done, with how much horrific burning pain I was in. So naturally, while I am there, I have issues physically. While I am having issues, like needing to stay inside or vomiting from pain medication, Dave and Rachel start hitting it off. They walk in front of me, leaving me behind. I wasn't as fast due to my issues. I had brought with me romantic candles from our wedding, which Dave knew for S time. Dave lit them while playing cards with Rachel. They went off on their own a couple of times with my blessing, but they were starting to get too friendly. Once Rachel left, I asked Dave if he had a crush on her. This was, for all purposes, the first time I had seen him after we got married. My point of view was, what the hell? I asked if they had been texting. He said no. I asked to see his phone. He was a little guarded about it, but I saw him that had been texting, thus he lied. I realized for sure he liked her. The issue was he would not admit it. He swore to me that he didn't know why he lied. He was just worried I would get upset, but that he and her had just connected over some obscure European thing from his childhood. I told him I wouldn't be mad, but I needed to know so we could take next steps. He started crying, worried I would leave him. I asked him to swear he didn't have a crush. He said he didn't and that he swore. A couple months ago from today, maybe 9. I can't remember exactly how it came up, but I told a joke and he said yes, he did have a crush at Rachel at that time. Well, obviously things got serious quick after he said that. We talked about why he had lied as well as in therapy, and he said that at that time I didn't realize I had a crush on her, but in retrospect I realize it now. He and I went through a lot in therapy, including asking him to write a letter of apology. We put that issue to bed. In fall of this year, we reached a climatic point in our relationship. While Dave had a job and went to work every day, he was extremely depressed and stopped contributing to our marriage or any household task. I would ask him about himself, we would talk, I'd ask how I could help, and he would talk the talk but not walk the walk. It was becoming very draining for me. I was in a lot of pain and there is only so much I can do with my disability. The fact that the disabled person in our household, who works more than him, has to run everything was beyond me. We had made a deal in the past that he would be the main homemaker despite who was working and who was not due to my limitations, and he said he was okay with that but now would not follow through. We had argument after argument. We were in couples therapy, and both in individual therapy, as the main reason he was struggling was due to depression. Technically, he has always been depressed. I reached a point where I told him we were going to have to separate if things didn't improve. We were having issues with time frequency and pleasure on my end, him doing his share or even just 20%, romance non-existent in my opinion, and him not helping me when I am in pain and can't do anything. Once I seriously started talking about separating, he jumped into action. I mean, real concrete action. Things turned 180. From end of November onwards to early March. DD was March 6th. Things were so good, I mean better than ever. Our communication had gone up, he did his share and then some. On some days, he tried really, really hard. I had never been so in love with him. I got sick in February and had to go to the hospital. Stomach flu, dehydration, couldn't stop vomiting, and he just took such good care of me, I can't even explain. Before I get to the issue at hand, I know I want to explain something about him. He comes from a Baltic state, as I mentioned. Life there is very hard and gray in every sense of the word. His parents neglected him as a child. If they were not neglecting him, they were not being nice to him. He was punched in the face as a toddler. He thinks he was also timely abused on 2 occasions, not by his parents, but this is relevant. When I met him, he wouldn't go outside of his home and was living with his mom. His mom wouldn't speak to him at all. She would come in and vacuum when he was sleeping. She got the cat things for her birthday, but for Dave's birthday she got him nothing. He has not had a good life. He is incredibly smart, he has learned a lot of things on his own, but socially he is stunted as he has not really had friends besides online. His last years of high school he did remote schooling. I am not saying any of this is an excuse but providing this information for context. Now to DD, March 6th. I went on his phone. We have an open phone policy within our marriage. I was trying to find a clue for what to get him for his birthday, but had this sinking feeling that I sometimes get that he was hiding something, but in general I am more anxious as a person. What I found has shocked me beyond. He had a special app where he was messaging men, exchanging DCK pictures, talking about time rape ducking animals, and most gut-wrenchingly exchanging nude photos of me hot wife stuff. It looked like he met these people on Reddit. I ran to the bathroom, as this was late at night, took some photos of it as I was worried he would delete it, but he woke up and asked to come in the bathroom. He was looking for his phone and couldn't find it, as I had it. When I left the bathroom and gave him his phone back, I had forgot to fully exit the app, so he opened his phone, saw it was running and freaked out. We spent almost all night talking. He says that he does this because it is a way to hurt himself. That he gets a high from the conversation, especially sharing lewd photos of me, either fully naked just body, or just face, and he gets a low after and feels disgusting about himself. He said he only does it when he has nothing to do and is really low. He says he usually does it once a week during a bad time, and during a good time maybe twice a month. He has been doing this since before we were together and throughout the duration of the entire relationship. He says that he puts on a persona where he just tries to be as disgusting and despicable as possible. That this is a year thing, about seeing things that he is not supposed to see. He said that he has masturbated before to photos of couples having time that he has received. He said he is not gay. He also has a Reddit account. In the messages he pretends to me and goes through scenarios with people. He uses my real bra size, age, and describes my real looks. I don't understand if it is a year thing what he is getting from the scenarios. He also messaged 2 women on Gone Wild very hurtful, as I specifically told him I consider this cheating in the past, and said things like your body is perfect. He has never said anything like that to me and struggles with compliments. He also has an Inger account filled with photos of women. He also has photos of women saved on his phone. He uses them to catfish men. To me, he has to be a bit bi? Not trying to label anything to be into asking for CCK photos. Oh, and also, I looked at his recent subreddit history. All of this we did together, and he has subreddit after subreddit of gay stuff. Cox, P niche, gay bras gone wild, something Joe's bros? About meeting up with men, dirt or 4R, all sorts. Then there is women ones as well. Holt the moan, hairy pussy, gone wild, curvy. The first couples therapy appointment we had after DD, the therapist was just as shocked. We came up with ideas of what can be done, but to be honest, my husband has already burst into action on everything. I asked him to not delete anything, although after I found Wicker that first night, he instantly deleted it when I walked out of the bathroom, which obviously doesn't help my trust at this point. Other than that, he has not deleted anything as per my request. However, he has turned off NSFW stuff on his Reddit, which auto turns back on sometimes. He has a nanny app on his phone and computer where I can see what he is doing. But back in April, he turned it off, and looked, last big incident. We have since corrected the app, so I am the only one who can turn it off. He agreed to not look at PRNs. In my mind, this is kind of S-time addiction. Wrote up an entire list of everywhere he has been since he got to America in Sept 2017 from Google Analytics. I mean, he said he will do anything, but I am just not sure what he can do. I brought up the Rachel situation as I had asked him after that happened if there is anything else he is lying about to tell me then. I have a serious issue with dishonesty. I think an entire marriage is built on trust. I believe in radical honesty. I think if he had told me about this instead of me finding it, everything would be different. Just to briefly mention, he also was shady in the past about texting an ex, although none of their conversation was S-time-ul. I think he just hides things he thinks I might get upset about. But I am not someone that goes super saiyan in any way. I try so hard to be a good wife. I suck his DCK anytime he wants. I am always down for S-time. I pay all of our bills. I cook most of our meals. I am the breadwinner. I brought him to the US. I paid his parking ticket and wrote his parking ticket appeal. When something goes wrong, I handle it. The only thing bad about me is that I am bigger. I am working on losing weight. I have pain, which has gone down recently. I don't know. I just have worked so hard for us and our marriage. I have sacrificed so much. I just don't get how he couldn't tell me this, but then again, I do. It is incredibly shameful. I held him and told him I don't think any less of him. I don't hate him, but lately I feel like it is all about how bad he feels for me finding out. I have been taking care of him. After this initially started, he got cluster headaches from the stress. He punched himself in the face when we were first talking about his issues because he hates himself so much. I feel like he is being real, but it is also super manipulative. I have since switched therapists, but our first therapist, who saw both of us separate and together, agreed that he thinks Dave is lying, as he said that he asked him point blank if he had done anything like this, and he said no. I asked Dave why can't he be honest to the therapist. He said that if he hasn't told me, he won't tell the therapist as he trusts me and is closer to me than anyone else. Dave said he kept this from me because he wanted to tell me once he stopped, once he had a plan. I just don't know. Dave is in therapy. We see a couples therapist. I want to be with him, but I am hurting so much. I have nightmares. I don't sleep well. I am paranoid. I feel unsafe sometimes, with myself and with him. I'm also obviously upset about the photos of me, especially because I used to feel so bad about myself. I used to get naked for people online. That was a compulsion of my own that I stopped. To know that he did that, knowing that, makes me upset. But he was doing it to show me off, which also feels nice. Like in general, if he said that was a fetish, I don't know how much I would mind, and kind of like it. But I am also in the process of building a serious career for myself that I have worked incredibly hard for. The idea that I could lose my job. We looked through his old email and I found responses to posts on websites where he offered to let people watch us have S-time. I also found a chat between this girl and him. where he spoke with her for a month or so without telling her about me. He would talk about his life and things we were doing together but leave me out of it. But that conversation is over years old. He is very, very technology savvy. He used to use Tor to do this timiding. I feel like if he wants to hide this stuff from me, he can. I just don't believe that he has stopped. I don't know where to go from here. He is my husband. We are working through things, but I feel like I just can't deal with it all, you know? But at the same time, I cannot describe how much I love him. My sun sets with this man. He is the reason I do everything. For both him and I, we went through phases of hurting ourselves and wanting to KLL ourselves. We pushed through to be together, and now that we are older have left that behind. He also promised to work on being more romantic. He bought me things, but he knows I want dates and has not followed through. I just desperately need support. I am so incredibly depressed. I don't know where to turn. I'm in the process of getting a therapist. I also have no married friends I feel comfortable talking about this. I don't know what else to do. Thoughts? Suggestions? Resources? Redditor's reactions. Redditor 1, honestly? It sounds like you have given everything you possibly could for this relationship, and he's been an absolute weasel throughout. Regardless of his sexuality and obscure kinks, there's bigger trust and manipulation issues here. I think you already know what option you need to take. A support network should be your top priority while you deal with this. Reach out to your friends and tell them you need their support for what you've been through and what you're going to go through. Stop wasting money on couples therapy and use it for individual therapy instead. You deserve a lot better. Op answer: thank you for your reply. My friends are aware. I just want to give it everything I got, if you know what I mean. I feel like it's getting better. Ike. Redditor 2, your submission on our surviving infidelity has been flagged for human review. Please read the rules in our sub-wiki before posting again. I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit message compose to equals our surviving infidelity if you have any questions or concerns. Redditor 3, so basically this moocher uses you as an ATM, a housemaid, a S-time maid, and a visa ticket among many things like being a liar and a cheater, and you still haven't left him. I promise you once you lose this dead weight you're going to start improving. Please find a good therapist ASAP because this is not normal or healthy. Most women would have left him long ago. Maybe cross-post this in one of the relationship forums, too.